Thank you for the opportunity to testify. Chairman Cook, I don't think you're going to like my position, but it is something I sincerely believe that this bill. My name is Will Francis, the Government Relations Director for the National Association of Social Workers Texas chapter, and I represent around 6,000 social workers around the state. I'm here to testify in opposition to it. NASW Texas applauds Representative Frank's efforts to transform the child welfare system, and he's been a strong and passionate advocate for change this session. We believe he does sincerely believe this bill to be inclusionary, but HB 3859 creates the untenable situation of stripping the child's voice from the process. The opening language of the bill describes providers helping to accommodate children from various cultural backgrounds, and yet the wording that follows does not once mention the child's culture as a mitigating factor. Nowhere within this legislation is a child able to bring their own identity, experiences, beliefs, wishes, or feelings into a discussion about the choices the placement will make for them. It allows anyone paid by the state who is to provide child welfare services the ability to decline any service to a child or person based upon their religious beliefs. Our child protection system is set up to accept every child exactly as they are based on the abuse and neglect that they've suffered, and by removing that acceptance, we are doing a disservice to children in a situation beyond their control. These children entered care because of what was done to them, and in some instances because of who they are. And subjecting that to a provider's determination of how they will or will not support the child is contrary to the stated DFPS value of involving clients, families, and communities in decision-making. Secondly, this bill allows a placement to enroll any child in the religious school of their choice without any input from the child. This means that a child from one religious background could be placed in a school that is modeled upon a completely different religion. By giving the provider the ability to be the sole arbiter of the child's education without any consideration for their history, experiences, or desires, this bill once again erases the child from the equation. Currently, children under 5 are able to attend a private school with departmental permission, and those over 5 can attend a school accredited by the Texas Private School Accreditation Commission. Departmental approval is needed for any other circumstance. Lastly, this bill allows anyone connected to the child welfare system to refuse to work with a child or family when abortions or contraceptives are part of the discussion. Texas allows teens to buy non-prescription, over-the-counter birth control. This is their right. To refuse to work with a child who is exercising their rights, to not attempt conversations that educate youth about sexual activity, rather than dictate to them a set of personal beliefs, is another indicator of how this bill rejects the very children it purports to support. This bill wants to allow contractors engaged with the state to select what types of clients they will and won't work with based on religious preferences. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act passed in 1999 already does this, and HB 3859 casts such a wide net that it completely shifts the perspective of the entire system away from the child and towards the provider. A child is placed in a foster home because of documented abuse and neglect. They did not ask for this situation, and they often reject it. They need as much acceptance, support, and care as possible. This bill removes the child's voice, strength, and history from the equation. This is a disservice to everyone involved in the child welfare system. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Yes, we have some questions over here.
Yes, sir. Mr. Francis, I just have a couple of quick questions. And I'm going off of previous testimony and what Representative Frank said, so please bear with me. Your testimony here was that the interests of the child are not taken into consideration, correct? I believe you testified that it's not taken into consideration the religion of the child, etc. Was that not your testimony?
Correct. You mentioned best interest, but I have not seen the committee sub, so I do not know if that's changed.
No, and not even the best interest, but as I understand it, and do you work with CPS?
I used to work with CPS for 2.5 years.
Okay, so you're intimately familiar with foster care process and what CPS does and does not do, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so as I understand it, CPS does take that into consideration when determining where to place a child already. Correct.
In the current status.
In the current, correct. That they say, hey, look, I mean, if you as I believe Representative Frank used, it's if you're a Baptist child, you're probably not going to get placed with an atheist. And you let me know you've got the experience.
I would say I would disagree in areas where capacity is low, and that's some of the challenges with CPS is that we do not have placements all over the state. The current mission of the department is to place kids within 50 miles of their home, but if we don't have capacities or if we don't have situations where we have similar type homes based on the child's background, then we can't place those kids in those homes.
Right, and so do you have any empirical, and that's what we're all talking about here today, right? Capacity. And what we want to do is increase the capacity. So do you have any empirical data or evidence or testimony that's going to say that this bill will in fact not increase the capacity, which evidently is an issue?
No, I do have data which I do believe shows that our capacity has been increasing throughout the state. We are still recruiting. The department is I think asking the department what their capacity is like. We know that we need more homes, but we have been increasing homes. The idea from my perspective and my concern, having worked with kids, is that you're going to have a child potentially come out, you're going to have a child ask for specific services, you're going to have a child say something about their own rights, and then be rejected by a placement based on this bill. So it's not necessarily even saying are we bringing more people into the situation. It's saying do we have kids in the care who are going to be pushed out of getting access to services that they should have access to because of this bill.
But we can all agree increasing doesn't mean meeting needs, right?
I don't understand the question.
You're saying that capacity is increasing, correct?
I'm saying that yes, I'm saying the department is currently out there looking for more foster homes right now.
Currently out there looking for more foster homes, but would you
Correct.
disagree with the basic point that we still need additional capacity?
Correct. I definitely agree.
So although increasing doesn't mean we're meeting needs as of yet, correct?
No, but I would say that we should be recruiting homes that are willing to follow the laws of this land, and I think that we should once again respect the fact that all laws are out there, be they laws on same-sex marriage, laws on access to contraception and abortion. These are laws, and so saying that you would like to disregard certain laws simply because of certain beliefs, I think is concerning when you're talking about other people's rights to the access to those laws as well.
Right, and respectfully, I would put out to you that this bill in no way at all contradicts any other laws. And in fact, as you've heard the testimony from the Attorney General's office, and we can bring Mr. Starr, where is he hiding? Okay, now there you are.
I was trying.
Trying back up. I mean, I believe that I believe the Attorney General's testimony is, in fact, what this does. It includes, not excludes. And it does not discriminate. So I'm trying to understand from the Attorney General's office, and quite frankly, as an attorney myself, reading the statute, because that's what I'm trying to do here and trying to come to grips with, as is the chairman, that when you actually read the statute, and maybe not the one-pagers that are out there on it, it doesn't, I think, quite do what some folks believe it does. So I would encourage you to look back at the statute and look at the capacity issue, which you yourself have said is an issue, and how this will hopefully address the capacity issue. Thank you, sir, for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.